Hey guys, and welcome back to another flashlight review. And if there's one thing I can't say no to, it is a high candela, truly pocketable flashlight. And this version I have here, the S8, the Convoy S8, CSL PM1 F1, 8 amps. It's not actually listed on the Convoy website, but you can request for Simon on his website to pair the 8 amp buck driver with this LED. So you just need to put that in the notes when you make an inquiry about the light. I'll show you guys how to do that later if you're interested. Now, this S8 normally comes with a 5 amp driver, which is pretty much enough. But if you really want to push it, get the maximum light and candela out of your throwy flashlight from Convoy, this is the driver to get. So yeah, basically over reviewing, and collecting over 100 plus lights, I think this one hands down, it's got to be the highest performing and lowest priced pocket thrower out there. And you don't need to sacrifice on quality either. The version I have comes with a green Osram W2, like I mentioned, or the CSL PM1 F1. And yeah, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it certainly excels with long range spotting and self defense purposes. So, in terms of what you get in the box, this is pretty much what you get. So, you get the light, you get a nice little stainless steel clip, a lanyard. You don't even get a battery with the light unless you order it separately. So this here is the box that the light comes in. Just gives you some specifications on it, but that's pretty much it. Here's a little comparison with some of my other Convoy flashlights as well as my Workhorse FC12. Got the Convoy T3 here, obviously a lot smaller, but it's not going to produce as much light or throw. And this is my other S8 that also comes with the CSL PM1 F1, but this is the 5 amp driver version. This one is the 8 amp driver version. And of course, you've got the Convoy S2 Plus here to the right, very similar in size. And I always say if you're looking for, the original kind of Convoy light, easy EDC sort of flashlight to carry around with you, and you're not super fussy about throw or long range performance, the S2 Plus is the perfect sort of host. Otherwise, the S8 or the S6 has a much deeper reflector. So it's 2 centimeter deep reflector, smooth reflector as well with some of these throwy LEDs. So yeah, I like these because you can get that long range performance out of them. So here is a close up of the S8, and Convoy does a top job at making relatively high quality flashlights at a low price point. I often wonder how they actually turn a profit. And, the machining, design, it's nothing to be super excited about, but, definitely does the job. Has a military feel about it, the S8. And yeah, it's just quite downplayed. There's nothing too fancy on the thing. And the anodizing, I'd say, is between matte black and shiny. It feels a little slippery, but yeah, good thing that there is decent amount of knurling on it. Does help when you're holding it. And you've got the lanyard. I'll probably take this off later. This is just to distinguish between the 8 amp version and the 5 amp version that I have as well. You do get this clip, like I was mentioning before, which is a great addition. Most Convoy lights don't come with a clip. And yeah, on the back, you've got a single tail switch, rubber tail switch there that you use to operate the flashlight. And looking down the bezel, firstly, you've got this crenulated bezel. That might help if you're going to break a window, but it is made of aluminium, so I doubt this is going to be too durable if you're really smacking it onto stuff. Recessed glass lens as well in there, and you've got that CSL PM1 F1 emitter. Okay, green emitter, the 2x1 mm dye surface. So it's a really small dye surface, but it produces quite a heap of light for its size. And these sort of LEDs, these de-domed small dye surface LEDs, produce a ton of throw. And yeah, smooth reflector as well. That does help to maximize throw. 8 amp buck driver, which is really the selling point of this light, because you're going to really push that PM1 emitter to the max. So the Convoy S8 has 12 different mode groupings, so you can select between them in the UI. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But basically, you turn the light on, Once you've selected a grouping, it memorizes that even if you take the battery out, and you can half press to cycle between the different modes. And that's pretty much it. Over here, I've got the Convoy website opened, and yeah, I'll just scroll down a little bit and just show you the grouping options. So yeah, you've got a version here that you can select. Now it depends. Some of them you can choose a 4-mode grouping option. Some of them I think you can choose only the 12. So that one there, like with the SST 20. But yeah, if you're choosing the 12 mode grouping, which I suggest you do choose, because it just allows you to select between all these other modes that you might need at some stage. Whereas if you just choose the 4-mode option, that's easy if you just want something that you just need those 4 particular options. But for me, because this is an 8 amp driver, I do like to have a mode grouping, this one here, mode grouping 9, that allows you to start at 50%, because 8 amps does produce a lot of heat. So 50% might be something that's more realistic, running that light on 4 amps, which is still going to be pretty hot anyway over the long term if you're operating light for long periods of time, but it's not going to be, unbearably hot like the 100% mode. It's not a good idea to run that mode for longer than, say, 2 minutes. And yeah, so if you go up there, I'll just show you again. So that's the version that I have. It's the KP CSL PM1 F1 with the green emitter. That's probably the throwiest emitter that you can get in this light, apart from maybe the SFT 25R or the white version here, the CSL NM1.TG. So this is a smaller version of the PM1, produces less light, but very, very throwy. And yeah, what I would do is that if you want the same version as me, click that one there, the PM1 F1, go down to the inquiry, fill in your details there, and just ask for the 8 amp driver. Simon will get back to you, and then you can purchase the light. I've spoken to Simon, and he's in the process of updating the listings, so you might not even have to do that by the time you see this video. Alright, so I ran a ceiling bounce test on the 100% mode with my Convoy S8 CSL PM1 F1 at 8 amps, and you can see here really good performance on the 100% mode. It does step down fairly quickly as well, which you want it to do, but yeah, basically you get about a minute of runtime between, say, 85 and 100% output, and by just about the 1.5 minute mark, you can see the light steps down to 50% output, which is still pretty high anyway. And yeah, you're going to want to watch that light if you're running it more than 2 minutes on 100%, because it does heat up quite quickly, like I was mentioning before. So this here is a second ceiling bounce test that I ran on 35% mode, and it pretty much maintains between 95 and 100% of the output throughout the duration of the test. So here comes the fun part. I ran a bunch of tests with my Opal Light Master Pro, and you can see on the 100% mode, I got nearly 600 meters of throw, so 592 meters of throw, which is, I mean, that's just unheard of with most LED flashlights, especially of this size. I don't think I can find anything else that's comparable. I went looking around, and I just couldn't find anything else that would be around the same price. Even more expensive lights, you'd have to look at something like an LEP flashlight. So yeah, this is a highly specific flashlight for someone who's just looking to maximize the range, the candela of a particular flashlight, whether that be for spotting, long range purposes, or for self-defense. The Convoy S8 with the CSL PM1 F1 produces a really intense hotspot with also a lot of usable spill. So compared to the NM1 version, which is the smaller 1x1mm die surface version of this LED, it produces probably about twice the amount of light. So it's more useful unless you're looking for something that just has a really intense spot. So some considerations to keep in mind. This light gets pretty hot, like I've mentioned a couple of times, and this is normal given that the aim here is to maximize range and power for a short duration. But you really just need to take those extra precautions. You don't want to leave it on 100% mode for too long. I'd say less than 2 minutes at a time, and just allow this thing to cool to room temperature. So yeah, it's probably not a good option for beginners or to give to someone as a gift, because they're not going to know how to deal with this light on 100%. Another thing you can do is just select mode grouping 9, which has 50% as the top step. Now that's much safer, also sustainable output, but I'd still monitor temperature closely, though it does get hot again, but it takes longer to do so. Second consideration is that there's no onboard charging and no battery included. Now you can get a battery from the Convoy store separately if you want to buy one or if you don't have one. But yeah, you're going to need an external 18650 battery charger or another 18650 light that has onboard charging. The third consideration is that this light has a green beam and it doesn't produce a whole lot of light compared to some other LEDs out there. You know, it's much better than the NM1, but yeah, this is as expected for a dedicated thrower flashlight. You know, some people really don't like the green. For me, I mean, if I'm just using it for visibility, you know, maybe self-defense purposes, I think this is a really good option. But yeah, up close, you can use it on walks if you want. You're just going to have to lower the brightness. Otherwise, that spot's going to be too intense. But yeah, it's still usable. Overall, this light is an absolute beast. It produces 592 meters of throw, which is almost unheard of for a light with such a small bezel. The 8 amp S8 with the green W2 even matches the Lumentop Ant-Man, a small, 14500 cell LEP flashlight that's rated at 590 meters, and it's also 5 times the price. So yeah, if you're looking for the best budget priced mini pocket thrower, make sure you consider this light. So if you have questions, just let me know down in the comments below. I will get back to you. And if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, make sure you like the video and share it with a friend. It helps me to get the video out to more people and to grow my channel. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews and keep up to date with the latest news, make sure you subscribe. Osram W2 in the Convoy S8, and on the left we've got the 5 amp version, on the right we've got the 8 amp version. And as you can see, there's a little difference with the one on the right hand side here. I think it looks just a touch brighter. I'm just focusing in on this sort of little area here on the side of the building. You kind of got these white staircases. It looks like an abandoned building. I mean, really at this point they both look pretty similar as the light steps down, but there is a little, almost like a little bit of extra brightness with the 8 amp version that I can only just detect. And yeah, if you turn it off, turn on again, that difference is a little bit more, but I think it's probably going to be more apparent over a very long distance. Okay, heat wise, definitely I can feel the 8 amp version just getting a bit hotter on the right here compared to the 5 amp. And just leave these both on for a little while and just see what happens. But really, I mean, if you're with the naked eye, I can't tell too much of a difference now. It's more in the beginning when you turn the light on. Now I'm going to compare the 8 amp PM1 F1 with the 5 amp NM1 F1. So that's the NM1 there and the PM1 on the right. So yeah, big difference is the size of the hotspot, and the throw is roughly the same on each of them, about 600 meters of throw, but you do get a much larger hotspot with the PM1. So obviously, it's running at a bit, it's running at 8 amps compared to 5 amps, but if you want the extra light and you want the extra power, you really can't beat that. But of course, the NM1 version is going to run a little more cooler and more efficient. It does produce less light though. 5 amp PM1 to the left and the 8 amp PM1 to the right. So that's the 5 amp, and on the right the 8 amps. And yeah, I can definitely see a difference as soon as you turn it on. Yeah, that 8 amps just a touch brighter and extends further out into the distance underneath that bridge there, but it does step down, and as it steps down it becomes kind of difficult to tell which is brighter. But yeah, difficult in camera, but I can certainly see just with the naked eye it has a little edge, and to me that's important.
know, I'm not going to be running this thing on 100% all the time. I'm going to be running it on, you know, just for short bursts. So to get that maximum performance out of it, you know, the 8 amp driver is great. But let's have a look up here. You can see this little power line there. This is the 5 amp version, and this is the 8 amp version. 5 amp, 8 amp, 5, 8, really not a, you know, I can't tell a huge difference now that both lights are kind of warm.